I was sprawled out on my couch, flipping through the news, when my phone buzzed with a message. Not a gentle vibration, but that angry, insistent buzz that always seems to herald bad news. The TV droned on about another political scandal, but my focus zeroed in on the screen glowing in my hand. It was from my ex-wife, Diane. My stomach clenched before I even read the words. "Your son is screwing your new girlfriend." When I kicked her out, I noticed all my jewelry was missing. "She's a thief. Maybe you're in on it too. Pay me back for what she stole." I read it again. Then a third time. Each word like a punch to the gut. My son. My girlfriend. Theft. The three horsemen of my personal apocalypse, all lined up in a neat little text message. At first, I thought it was a joke. Some kind of sick, bitter ex-wife prank. Diane had always been dramatic, always looking for ways to twist the knife ever since I walked out 3 years ago. But then the weight of the words hit me, and the bile crawled up my throat, burning like acid. Jess. 28. Blonde. Perfect fucking teeth. The kind of woman who made men twice her age feel like they'd won the lottery. And I'd been that sucker. For 8 months, I'd been that pathetic middle-aged cliché who thought he'd caught a second wind. That he'd found something real. And my son. Tyler. 24. My flesh and blood. The kid I'd taught to throw a baseball and drive a stick shift. The same kid who'd barely spoken to me since the divorce, blaming me for destroying our family. Apparently, he'd found a way to get even. I tried calling Jess immediately. Straight to voicemail. No answer. No explanation. "Jess, it's me. Call me back. Now." My voice sounded strange, like it was coming from someone else's throat. Tight. Controlled. The calm before the storm. I tried 3 more times. Nothing. Just her chirpy voicemail greeting mocking me, "Hey, this is Jess. Sorry I missed your call. Leave a message and I'll get right back to you." Right back to you. Sure. Just like she'd gotten right back to my son. I sat on the edge of the couch, my knees bouncing with a nervous energy I couldn't contain. The TV still blaring, the room suddenly too small, too hot. My hands shook as I dialed Tyler's number. Also straight to voicemail. Of fucking course. "Son, call me. We need to talk. Now." I hung up before the rage could spill out. Before I could say things I couldn't take back. But who was I kidding? There was no talking this through. No rational explanation that would make any of this okay. My hands clenched the steering wheel so hard I thought it might snap as I tore out of my driveway toward my ex-wife's house. The same house we bought together 15 years ago. The same house where I'd watched my marriage disintegrate one silent dinner at a time. The suburban streets blurred past, my speedometer creeping well above the limit. I didn't care. My mind was a tornado of images I couldn't shut out, Jess's hands on my son's skin. Their bodies tangled together. Their laughter at my expense. The stupid, blind trust I'd given both of them. When I pulled up, Diane was already standing outside, arms crossed, fake tears threatening to fall. She was wearing yoga pants and a tight tank top, her blonde hair pulled back in that severe ponytail that always meant she was ready for battle. At 52, she still turned heads. Still knew exactly how to use her looks as a weapon. The second I slammed my car door, she launched into her performance. "She slept with your son under your roof, you idiot," she screamed, loud enough for the whole damn neighborhood to hear. "And then robbed me blind." Her neighbors were peeking through their windows, savoring every second of the show. Mrs. Peterson across the street didn't even try to hide it, standing on her porch with a cup of coffee, watching like it was the latest episode of her favorite soap opera. "Keep your voice down," I growled, marching up the walkway. The same concrete path I'd poured with my own hands a decade ago. I want details. Now. Details? Diane laughed, that high-pitched, manic laugh that had always grated on my nerves. What more do you need? Your precious little girlfriend came over to drop off Tyler's jacket. Next thing I know, they're in his old bedroom going at it like animals. I heard them, Mark. I fucking heard them. My jaw clenched so tight I could feel a tooth crack. And the stealing part? She took everything. My rings, my necklaces, even the gold watch my father gave me. If you think I'm letting this go, you're dreaming. You owe me, every damn penny. I stepped closer, close enough to smell her expensive perfume mixed with the faint scent of vodka. It wasn't even noon yet. Typical Diane. Why would you let her in the house in the first place? I demanded. Since when are you and Tyler so chummy? Last I heard, he was barely speaking to you either. He's been staying here for the past week, she spat back. Lost his apartment because of that gambling habit he picked up. Wonder where he got that from. Like father, like son. Another knife twist. Another old wound reopened. I'd kicked the gambling 3 years ago, but Diane never let me forget the 20 grand I'd blown before hitting rock bottom. I felt like my skull was splitting open from the chaos. But something in her voice wasn't sitting right. It wasn't heartbreak. It wasn't betrayal. It was greed. Pure, calculated greed. Then it hit me. Way too smooth. Way too rehearsed. The tears that never quite fell. The way she'd been standing outside waiting, like she knew exactly when I'd arrive. I shoved past her into the house, ignoring her protests. The living room was immaculate as always, not a cushion out of place. No sign of Tyler. No sign of anyone having stayed here. Where is he? I demanded. Where's Tyler? Out, she snapped, following me as I stalked through the house. Probably with your whore girlfriend, spending my money. I made my way to Tyler's old bedroom. The bed was made. Perfectly made, with hospital corners the way Diane always insisted. No rumpled sheets. No sign of the passionate encounter she described in such vivid detail. Funny, I said, turning to face her. For two people who were going at it like animals, they sure left the place tidy. Her eyes narrowed. Just for a second. Just long enough for me to catch it. I ransacked the place until I found a wrinkled piece of paper sticking out from under a pile of junk mail on the kitchen counter. A printed bank statement. A sudden wire transfer. From a private account. Jess's name on the sender line. $30,000. Dated 3 days ago. It didn't take a genius to figure it out. Jess wasn't some naive girl who fell into my son's bed and accidentally stole a few trinkets. No. She and my ex-wife had planned it. The whole damn thing. Get in, 'cause a scandal, snatch the valuables, and bleed me dry through guilt and blackmail. And I'd walked right into it, like a blind fucking idiot. You bitch, I whispered, my voice ice cold as I held up the statement. You absolute bitch. Diane's face went pale. For the first time, real emotion flashed across her features. Fear. That's private, she hissed, lunging for the paper. I held it out of reach. Give me that. Where's my son? I asked again. Is he even in on this, or did you just use his name to twist the knife? Her silence was answer enough. Tyler had no idea. He was just another pawn in her sick game. Get out, she said, her voice shaking with rage. Get out before I call the cops. I laughed. A hollow, bitter sound that echoed in the kitchen we'd once shared. Go ahead. Call them. I'm sure they'd be very interested in this wire transfer. Very interested in how you and Jess cooked up this little scheme together. I took a photo of the bank statement with my phone before tossing it onto the counter. You know what's sad, Diane? We were married for 20 years. You know me better than anyone. You know how much family means to me. How much Tyler means to me. And you still used him as a weapon. You deserve it, she spat, tears finally falling now. Real ones. You left me for that younger model. You think I don't know how it looks? The ex-wife replaced by some perky blonde half her age. You humiliated me. I left you because you cheated on me with my boss, I reminded her coldly. But nice try rewriting history. I walked out, my mind already racing with what to do next. I had the evidence. I had the truth. And I had over 2 decades of experience dealing with Diane's manipulations. I didn't even bother confronting Jess. She wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth the breath it would take to call her out on her betrayal. Instead, I went straight to my bank and froze all my accounts. Changed all my passwords. Killed every credit card I'd ever given her access to. Then I called my lawyer, Phil. Same guy who'd handled our divorce. Same guy who'd watched me get financially gutted by Diane 3 years ago. They what? He exclaimed when I explained the situation. Jesus, Mark. That's next level crazy. Tell me about it, I muttered, staring out at the parking lot from his office window. So what can we do? Plenty, Phil said, scribbling notes on his yellow legal pad. Conspiracy to commit fraud, for starters. Theft. And if they were planning to blackmail you with the supposed affair between Jess and your son, that's extortion. I nodded, a cold satisfaction settling in my chest. I want them ruined, Phil. Both of them. We can make a pretty good case, he agreed. But are you sure about going this hard? Once we start this ball rolling. I'm sure, I cut him off. They played with fire. Time to get burned. I let the bank know about the theft. Had the cops crawl up her ass with warrants. Reported the stolen items, and made sure every pawn shop in a 50-mile radius had her picture and my ex-wife's name plastered all over the back room. It took less than a week for the first domino to fall. Jess got picked up first, bawling like a little girl when they cuffed her outside some dirty motel in Atlantic City. According to the police report, she'd already blown through half the money. Gambling, ironically enough. The universe has a sick sense of humor sometimes. My ex-wife? Oh, she thought she was untouchable. Thought her family name and her father's connections would protect her, just like they always had. Until the IRS came knocking, thanks to a few anonymous tips about her undeclared assets. Turns out she'd been skimming money from her father's trust fund for years. Money that was supposed to be going into an account for Tyler's education. They both went down. Hard. No dramatic showdowns. No screaming matches. Just the cold, hard slap of reality. I got a call from Tyler 2 days after Diane's arrest. His voice tight, confused. Dad? What the hell is going on? Mom's in jail. She is, I confirmed, taking a swig of whiskey. It burned going down, but it was a good burn. Cleansing. Did she tell you why? Something about tax evasion and fraud. Dad, this is crazy. She needs help. She needs consequences, I corrected him. For once in her life. What does that mean? Tyler demanded. Did you have something to do with this? I considered lying. Considered protecting him from the ugly truth about his mother. But he was a grown man now. And I was done with lies. Your mother and my girlfriend cooked up a scheme to rob me blind, I said flatly. They were going to use you as part of the cover story. According to them, you and Jess were having an affair behind my back. Silence. Then, what the fuck? Yeah. That was my reaction too. I haven't even met your girlfriend, Tyler said, his voice hollow with shock. I've been in Seattle for the past 3 months on that job site, Dad. I just got back yesterday. I know, I said quietly. Your mom counted on me not knowing that. More silence. I could almost hear the pieces clicking into place in his head. Jesus, he finally whispered. That's sick. That's your mother, I replied, no emotion in my voice. That's who she's always been. You were just too young to see it before. We talked for another hour. Really talked, for the first time in years. About the divorce. About the gambling. About how he believed his mother's version of events because it was easier than facing the truth, that the woman who'd raised him was capable of breathtaking cruelty. By the end, something had shifted between us. Not healed, exactly. But changed. A new understanding built on the ashes of old lies. Diane got 5 years for fraud and tax evasion. Jess got 18 months for theft and conspiracy. I didn't attend either sentencing. Didn't need to see their faces or hear their excuses. The cold satisfaction of knowing they were paying for their crimes was enough. And me? I went back to my couch. Kicked my feet up. And laughed my goddamn ass off. Not because any of it was funny, but because sometimes laughter is the only response to absurdity. To the realization that the people closest to you are capable of the deepest betrayals. I still think about Jess sometimes. About the 8 months we spent together. Was any of it real? Or was she playing me from the very beginning? Was every kiss, every whispered word of affection just part of the long con? In the end, I decided it didn't matter. The past was dead weight, and I was done carrying it. Done letting the ghosts of betrayal haunt me. Not out of forgiveness, fuck that, but out of a cold, practical desire to move forward unencumbered. Tyler comes over for beers now. Once a week, sometimes more. We don't talk about his mother. Don't talk about Jess. We talk about work, about sports, about the classic car he's rebuilding in his garage. Normal father-son shit. The kind of relationship we should have had all along, if not for the poison Diane had been dripping in his ear for years. As for me, I'm done with relationships. Done with the whole song and dance of trust and vulnerability. Some lessons you only need to learn once, and this one's carved into my bones now. People will always disappoint you. Always betray you. Always reveal themselves to be exactly who they are when pushed hard enough. And that's fine. It's almost liberating, in a way. Expectations are just disappointments waiting to happen, and I'm fresh out of those. These days, I keep my circle small. My guard up. My emotions locked down tight. Some might call it bitter. I call it clear-eyed. The world keeps spinning. Life goes on. And I watch it all from a safe distance, no longer a participant in other people's games. Sometimes, when I'm having those beers with Tyler, I catch him looking at me with concern. Like he's worried I've gone cold. Like he thinks I should get back out there and try again. But he doesn't understand. Not really. He's young. Still believes in second chances and fresh starts. Still thinks that people are fundamentally good when you strip away the layers. I know better now. And that knowledge is a shield I wear every day. A protection against the Dianes and Jesses of the world, with their pretty smiles and ugly intentions. So let them come. Let them try their best. This time, I'll see them coming from a mile away. And I'll be the one laughing in the end. Every damn time.